Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome to another live stream. This one is called Construction Matters. Stars Hamish McClay as ever from Search Convey. Today's special guest is Michelle Carr, founder of H Squared Construction Limited, and also a stalwart of promoting all things in the industry to do with the subcontractor. Today's topic is all about what have we learned from 2025? What insights have we gained from that? And what can we take forward into 2026? And what does it point us to learn more about? But to start us off, as ever, Hamish McClay.
Well, it's great that we've actually got Michelle with us because she's the one who gets out there in the field. She knows where it's all happening because she sees it. She sees it live. All us mere mortals can do is sort of rely on the feedback, and unfortunately the media doesn't give us the best feedback. The media gives us whatever claptrap it sort of chooses that somebody's actually told them, and out it sort of goes. We do know fundamentally that there's been a lot of things this year which have distracted people from getting on and doing what they want to do. That hasn't helped. However, I believe it's set in motion because they've still got some strategies in place, the government, that we know they're in place now. We know what the score is. I do believe, and I'm sure Michelle will reinforce this, there are things we can now build upon, which we perhaps weren't able to do because we didn't understand the full width of what the government was up to. But in particular, it's to make sure, although that build process is, I think, in a position to start sort of picking up, one of the serious things that will go wrong if you don't get it right in the first place is the contractual arrangement you have as a subcontractor. And that is an area of expertise that Michelle can tell you so much about. And I would suggest probably as a subcontractor, if you're listening into us, you get that contract right, and it will make a world of difference to you.
Certainly down the line. Welcome to the show as ever, Michelle. Can you enlarge upon what Hamish has started there?
Well, I mean, I don't know what we've necessarily learned. I mean, in all honesty, I think in the construction industry, we've been in limbo this year. I know at the beginning of the year and the back end of last year, when the Labour government came in, a lot of people were expecting the interest rates to go absolutely through the roof. So I think a lot of projects were put on hold. There's a lot of projects cancelled August, September last year. People have just kind of been in a bit of limbo waiting to see what happened. And then obviously we were waiting for the budget, and the budget, I think, is going to be a bit of a disaster for the country, but that's a whole different topic of conversation. I think, unfortunately, there's been a record number of companies going bust this year, and some of them really well established, and there's all this thing with bounce back loans. And I think what's become clear is that the Labour government do not understand the construction industry. That is very, very clear. They've not been able to deliver any of the things that they've promised. And also the things that they're trying to put in place just aren't going to work with how the industry works. I mean, my biggest concern is the amount of labour that we're going to end up having by April 2027, July 2027, because in April 2026, they're bringing in this new system where subcontractors or self-employed people need to do quarterly returns, and they need to do everything online. That's just not going to fit with the construction industry, and I have a feeling that a lot of labour is going to walk away from the industry because it's tough. It's really tough out there, and there is money to be made. There is money out there, but it's trying to find it. But everyone has been very, very, very nervous, and I mean, I still haven't seen anything that the government have put in place that's actually helping anything or doing anything that it's supposed to be doing. But the issue with the construction industry is it takes a long time.
So are you making reference to Making Tax Digital, the new need for online quarterly returns? Is this the government's attempt to try and treat all industries the same? And of course, the construction industry for many years has worked entirely differently to many mainstream businesses.
I'm no expert on tax, but I have my theories. But I kind of saw this coming a long time ago, and I think part of the whole COVID SEISS grants and all the rest of it, there's many people that haven't been declaring their earnings properly for years. I think it's all part of the control, but that's a whole different, nothing to do with construction, that's a whole different topic.
Right.
But it's not going to work with I work with these people on a daily basis, and I've helped people with their tax returns on numerous occasions, saying, well, you're entitled to claim this and you're entitled to claim that. And the fact that they have a separate bank account, and you have to have a separate bank account that's just for your business expenses. And I know these guys are like, they're just going to keep tapping on their card. And yeah, okay, the first 12 months, I'm assuming they're going to get some leeway, but I think after that, when fines start happening, I think it's going to be chaos. And I think so many people are going to leave the industry. And one of the many reasons that my husband is no longer working in the industry is because I know for a while he wasn't going to do it, and I'm not prepared to do it for him. So in preparation of that, I think it's gonna have a massive impact on the industry next year. I think it's the wrong thing to do.
2 further questions. Do you think there's been a skills drain because of that? Less and less people wanting to be in construction because they're frightened about this. And
no. Sorry, Tom, because lots of people that I'm talking to haven't got a clue it's coming, even though they've had the letter and it's been going. They're not aware of what the change is, and they're not aware of what's coming, and they're not prepared at all. I mean, these guys just aren't listening, and they'll see a brown envelope. They just don't open it. And they might see an email from HMRC. They just don't open it. I literally, on Friday, I was in the pub and I was talking to people about it on Friday. Not a single one knew anything about it.
Good Lord. Because they've been rattling their sabers. They've been rattling their sabers about this to common garden businesses like mine for, a couple of years now. It was supposed to happen this year, and they put it off to 2026. But it's definitely coming.
So yeah, I'm nervous about how that's going to affect the industry. I mean, it may be the fact that you just have a load of people that are setting up limited companies, and obviously the only reason you have to do more returns if you're VAT registered. If you're not VAT registered or you're not on that threshold, then you go back to the annual returns, but you've still got the 9 months after your business. And I think more limited companies will come, but then lots of people don't understand how a limited company works, the differences between self-employed and being a limited business, and the fact that you need to account as it, and it's a totally different role being a director. So I think it's going to cause carnage, and I can't see it being good. And
the last question I was going to say before I toss the caber, as it were, back to Hamish, is about the promises of new construction limits, and also, more importantly, new builds, new properties that were promised by the current government. We're nowhere near those figures.
Well, it's hard to say what we're near, because as I've explained on numerous occasions, if you're starting to do a new build project or you're looking to do a development, it takes years. And in all honesty, anything they set up now, I don't even think the Labour government will be still in by the time they start to build it, or by the time it's ready. It takes years. So the promises that they've made were just ridiculous. But I also know, and I'm sure I've mentioned this on previous podcasts, how they also promised to get all of the asylum seekers or immigrants that are in hotels out, and they've done absolutely the opposite. They've cancelled all the contracts. They've cancelled every build that was there to house them, to keep them in the hotels. And so I don't have much faith in our current government delivering anything, to be honest. But even if they do, some of the size of some of the projects they're talking about doing take about 3 or 4 years to get through planning.
So when they promise that such and such a thing is going to happen, such as new builds, it's pie in the sky, isn't it? Really?
It's not that it won't happen, but it's not going to happen as quickly as they say it is, because you just can't get these things. I mean, you can't even get the surveys done enough, let alone get through planning. And yeah, they're looking at relaxing planning, but all these things take a long time. And I would hope that we'll start seeing some of the projects that they're talking about being built next year. It is possible to do it fast track, but the industry can be slow, and it's dependent on so many different things. And also there's certain times of the year you can and can't do things because of nature and bats, and some areas like where I live, there's newts, and if you miss that deadline of when you're going to start doing it, and the program doesn't work in line with different mating seasons and things like that, you can put the whole project back. And I just think there's a lack of understanding. They're not being advised by people that understand construction, that's for sure.
It certainly seems there's been a broad brushstroke attempt to explain it. Hamish, it seems to me that we're held to ransom almost. We come to, I'm desperately trying not to be political, struggling a little bit there, in the sense that we were promised certain things, yet Michelle has pointed out how could they be promising these things when they take umpteen years just to get through planning and surveying and goodness what else.
I think it comes back to that basic challenge that we do have, particularly with sort of politicians. They lack that level of understanding in terms of the process, and Michelle sort of pointed that out quite clearly. I mean, one of the stands, I was hoping, because Michelle's such a positive soul, I was hoping she was going to turn around and say, well, we know it's not so good, but we've got this and we've got that. But Michelle's just says, oh, hang on. And I've completely forgotten about, first of all, the accounting sort of side of things. So you look at it, that the independents who make up and contribute so much to the what is going on in construction, they've been dumped upon. We know basically the first of all, but the fact that the tax situation is sort of fixed. They need more money to be able to survive, so they're just going to end up paying more tax. They're not going to earn more money in reality. They'll end up paying sort of more tax for sort of harder effort if the projects do actually sort of get off the ground. Then you've got the other sort of switch relative to the accounting, because they're independent in sort of can be one of two ways. But you've also got this other situation, because of the way the government have handled it. There's an awful lot more people wanting to set up a company, because at least that particular sort of way the taxing is different. But then, of course, you've got the complications of the court. It is just complication after complication after complication. And that's the last thing. What it is with the situation we happen to be in, we just needed to build houses. We didn't need all of these other things to happen to interfere with it, sad. And I think that's what the problem is. We just haven't been able to sort of have the flow of different things that would enable us to actually sort of get the build program there. We've got people who are interested in doing it. We've got builders who are out there who would actually jump into doing the work. But what it actually comes back to, I think it is a matter of looking at the projects. I mean, Michelle did indicate things could happen. I believe we're going to be having a sort of fairly tough winter. So we know winter time is not the best of times sort of anyway, but that you can get some starts in at least. But of course, we don't have enough people. The planning has changed to the extent that they can actually put a lot more places. They get more sort of planning approved in the first place, or the outline planning. But after the outline planning, you've then got to go through the next load of phases. And of course, if you haven't got enough people who are involved to looking, they don't have enough people in planning countrywide. End of story. To get the right things together first time round. So so I think it will be a slower takeoff next year. No matter what people want to do, it'll be a slower takeoff. It's not really going to help the construction industry. I don't know if there's anything positive you can actually pull on, Michelle.
I was going to say that. I mean, you almost were on the verges of saying something positive earlier, and you said that if they could rush it through with the new changes to restrictions on planning, maybe they can get going, and perhaps we could have construction next year, and some of these building targets could be realised. Is that fair?
Well, I think that the money's out there. There's lots of people with funding that are looking to invest. There's lots of people that want to invest in the construction space, that they want to do these buildings and they're prepared to upfront the money. And we've also got stability in interest rates, which makes a big difference. They've lowered us a little bit. I mean, they could do with coming down a little bit more, because it obviously makes it more financially viable. But what I think the projects are coming to fruition, and that's amazing. And there is money out there. There's people looking to pay for these or support or invest in these projects, which is great. It's unfortunate that obviously the construction industry's had a hit, and maybe if some of this money was available this time last year, then maybe we might not have lost as many, but who knows? It's hard to say, because you can't tell why they've gone bust necessarily. But I do think there's positivity out there. Just my concern is that whether or not the people stick around in the labour force to deliver them. I mean, whether or not the government's trying to push self-employed people into PAYE, but the companies just can't afford to have them on PAYE with the way that what they're charging with in NI, employers NI, and all the rest of it. So I do think they need to be a bit more realistic about what impact this is going to have on the industry. And yeah, I'm hoping the projects are going to be there and everything's going to be there, but I'm just concerned about whether the labour force is going to stick around.
I just want to acknowledge we've seen a whole bunch of new watchers on YouTube and X. Thank you very much for joining us. This is a channel today that we are joined by Michelle Carr. Michelle Carr is a QS of some note and maybe will answer any of your questions. If you want any questions in the chat, please, we'll put them to her straight away because we'll be closing this chat down in about 2 or 3 minutes. So please do get them now. I noticed that at least one person's had a good laugh at a couple of things you said, Michelle, but agreeing with you, I believe. But I just want to note that this is an ideal opportunity. If there's something that's confusing you about the construction industry, or if there's an issue with where you think we should be as opposed to where we are, please do raise them now. Hamish, it seems to me that we're forever striving for better standards. I mean, let's face it, in the Cladding Matters podcast on Friday, shameless plug at 1 p.m. on Friday, we'll be talking about all things cladding, but also about further about construction and perhaps laxity in construction, talking about that then. But it seems to me that the more we talk, things aren't really changing.
Well, I mean, Michelle, again, put a finger on that aspect of it. Is we have a government that have said they are going to do this, they are going to resolve this, this will happen by. And it's not just to do with the building industry, it's not just to do with what's going on in construction. I mean, it's this sort of particular sort of thing. It's a little buzz here. I think they want to make a positive announcement every week. I mean, when they first came to back, there was something to do with the construction industry, something to do with building progress and all of that. Something every week was coming up in Parliament with discussions after discussion after discussion. And of course, they're still trying to improve conveyancing, all linked up with it. But none of these things have actually been put in place. It's all discussion, which does link up with what Michelle was saying. Hey, look, you've got to get these things, because we've been speaking about some of those. You do look in some of the articles, some of the what's going on in the construction industry, and you see, right, outline permission on this one, another 200 houses here, another 400 there, another 650. However, we don't have the infrastructure at the moment to get all of that sort of up and running through the local councils. They haven't created better provision. I think this was something which came up as well. They were going to, one of their targets was to get in another 300 people throughout the country to support planning, planning officers in all of these councils. But when we actually sort of think, well, there's 300 councils, there's 320 councils. That's when you think of where some of these projects are, and of course, London will be a sort of busy place. Where are these people going to come out of the air from? Are they going to be experts straight away?
No.
I'm not sure they are.
Michelle, would you speak to that a moment before I get Hamish to summarise and finalise?
What about the additional people in the council? I mean, ultimately, if you're saying there's 300 extra people, we've got 320 different councils. That's not even a whole person per council. I don't know whether they're going to spread it differently. But yeah, it takes time to train those up. And actually, recently, I've met some people that have left planning and have gone to work and set up consultancies because they're sick of the way it works and that they're overworked. I mean, I've had planning permissions for changing. One of my clients was changing a house from a 3-bed to a 5-bed, and it needed to have planning permission because it's a HMO, and it took 22 weeks.
Wow.
Imagine what building a whole street or village or town or whatever the government's going to do. And yeah, it could be fast tracked, but if that, and you're looking at 2 drawings, and if that information has taken 22 weeks, I mean, what hope have we got of things, even if it was put in 6 months ago? Is it going to be there? And also once you've got the planning and you've got the considerations, then that's when things go out to tender, and that tender process can take up to a year to agree. So yeah, I mean, helping with planning, getting things through, but providing they understand, they need to be trained, and that takes time.
Hamish, would you care to take us home?
Well, I think we have a future. There's no there's no challenge with that. We can see there is a future there. However, do we have available at the moment for it to get off to that? It's that quick start. I was thinking, I was hopeful we'd come up and we could sort of turn around and say, yes, it looks as though, yes, it's been slow. It's been purposely slow because of government intervention. Hopefully, when we know when everything's coming into place, but when we add together all of those particular aspects and look at the infrastructure that we have to get these buildings off the ground, to get to get the site established, to start off with, to get the boards up outside. I mean, that takes long enough. But if we haven't got the full permission through, it's still not ready to start. So, yes, it is there. There's a purposeful future. Do please, guys, hang around if you're in the construction industry, because we do need you. There's the desperate need for you. So don't go leaving us. Don't go leaving us. But for heaven's sake, if you are setting up a contract with one of those bigger contractors, do go about it the right way. You need to speak to somebody like Michelle to ensure that you've got it right.
Was it Martha and the Vandellas, or maybe even the communards who said, don't leave me this way? And that's what Hamish is appealing to all of you out there in construction. Don't worry, good stuff is around the corner, we hope. It only remains for me to say thank you so much, Michelle Carr, founder of 8 Squared Construction. She's an excellent QS, so if you want information, do look her up. She's available for consultation, and we'll give you the best advice. And Hamish McClay, as ever, founder of the channel, our Lord and Master. And thank you once and all of you out there taking an interest in this. Please watch throughout the week. We have 5 different podcasts for you to tune into, all different aspects of construction and property, and it will really give you conversation about the topic that you so thirst for right there. But until next time, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and please, for goodness sake, look after your mental health over this holiday season. Until next time, bye-bye.